It's Tuesday, and it kind of feels like Monday. Like I can't think about the fact that it's not Monday. I'm waiting for Instagram to catch up. Come on, we're waiting on you. There we go. I just need to press this button, otherwise I'll forget, and we'll get like 10 minutes into the show and realize that we've completely excluded a whole group of people. That's just not okay. We're an inclusive platformy thing here. I hope you had a great weekend, a great long weekend. Happy belated Canada Day. Yes. How did you spend your Canada Day? If, in fact, you're in Canada. Because if you're elsewhere, you probably didn't care that it was Canada Day. But we had my family had a great weekend. We spent time together. We barbecued a lot. I was in the backyard. I barbecued. It was hot, especially yesterday. It was very hot. And that means I had to wear a hat. Otherwise, I would have burnt my noggin. And that would not have been okay. We have Paul, who says, "Good morning, Sean. Hello, all." And you are the first person in the chat today. So good morning, Paul. Thank you for coming in via YouTube. As people get in here, we'll do our regular stuff and intro things. First of all, if you're watching, you're probably watching on these platforms, because, or at least one of them. We're on TikTok, YouTube, Twitch, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, Kick, and of course X, formerly known as Twitter. And you know, I have to say I'm actually getting used to X, but I'm not getting used to the concept of Xing. I think we're still tweeting on X. Is that weird? But I'm getting used to it. If you missed the show, you can't stay here for the whole show, or can't stand the show. If you want to catch up later, you can always watch reruns on YouTube and watch the video, but it's also a really great way to spend time while you're in the car, while you're driving to and fro, or on the subway, or however you choose to commute. You can do this by way of synchronizing with your favorite, podcasting app. We actually upload the spot to Spotify, that then replicates everywhere, and you can synchronize it. And that way, you're not breaking any laws or even burning data when you're listening later. So that's a thing. What else can I tell you about as we get into stuff and things? On Thursday, I'm not here tomorrow, so on Thursday we're going to be here with Jerry Agar on News Talk 1010. We're going to do our regular thing where we connect and chat with his audience and our audience and the audience together. It's always an exciting time. I really enjoy doing that spot. That is something that we've been doing for a number of years, and it's cool. TikTok and radio together. I like it. I like it a lot. Sorry, whenever I say I like it a lot. It's my Forrest Gump thing. It's a Forrest Gump trigger. I can't help myself. It's just what it is. It's just what it is. See a couple of messages coming in from Instagram. Before we do questions and stuff and things, I'm going to quickly go into Vision Zero Enforcement Unit. Team unit? Unit. This thing is jumbled together. Vision Zero Enforcement Team, yes. They are the dedicated group of officers who go out and do nothing but write tickets. And I mean that. They go out, they're not tied to the radio to go to collision calls. They are there to do enforcement specifically to change driver behavior one ticket at a time. They're focused on the big four. They're looking for folks who choose to speed, drive aggressively, drive distracted, or drive impaired, because we know that those particular behaviors lead to serious injury and death on our roads. Today, they're spending time in 11 Division and 42 Division. Those are neighborhoods like the Junction, Weston, High Park, Roncy, Malvern, Agincourt, Milliken, Rouge, Scarborough. Neighborhoods where real people live, work, and play and deserve to be safe. If they were your neighborhoods, you'd want to be knowing where they were when they were there. So we announce it every day on Twitter, on Instagram, and on Facebook. And we announce it so people know that we're there to protect them, to work in their communities to make them safer. It's a good thing. It really is. Let me go here and type in that. Just a quick thing to get it out of the way, because I want to make mention of it. We'll talk about it more later on. But one, you can get great information as well as links to all of our social media by going to TrafficCop.ca. If you want to know about car seats, if you want to know about driving while you're or renewing your license, because, hey, guess what? Renewing your plates as of July 1st, which was yesterday, that's supposed to be all automagical now. So more information about that, we put links onto TrafficCop.ca, and you can get access by, well, visiting it. The other thing is, if you're interested in a job with the Toronto Police Service, we are hiring. We're always hiring somebody for something. And if you'd like to know what we're hiring for, go to www.tps.ca/careers, and you can get listings for, well, information about specific jobs like police constable, parking enforcement officer, special constable, comms operator. But you can also look at our civilian jobs, because we are hiring positions that have nothing to do with being in a uniform. We have people in the computer industry, supporting us in tech. We have mechanics. We have people in payroll. We have tons of different positions that ultimately help your community and support the police so they can go out and do what they got to do, but doing it in different ways. Maybe you'd like to become a member of our magical service. And if so, check it out. I'll leave that on screen while I look for other things to talk about. I just got to pull up. Here we go. I see how a bunch of people just jumped into the live. Awesome. Not a firefighter. Awesome to see you. Let's see if the live link is working. It is. That's, again, awesome. We've got Julie Massey, who says, oh, was I fast enough? I was fast enough. It was, as I started to scroll up, I was able to catch your comment, and there it is. Good morning, Sean, and everyone out there. Thank you, Julie, for saying hey. Ryan Pinn, who has been absent recently. I'm sure he has an excuse, like he was working. But Ryan says, aloha. Nova Scotia announced free tuition for paramedics. So really? Ryan Pinn is a driving instructor and a military man, and maybe a paramedic soon. That's amazing, actually. Good for you. Good luck to you on that. Is it Mommy C says, good morning, Sean. Good morning to you. We got a Killer Jaconis with greetings and salutations. Brandon, who says, good morning, Sean, and all the awesome crew. Let's have an amazing day. And right back at you, Brandon. Akela says he took 4,500 air show photos, almost zero of Grafton. We never got into town. No kidding, because I saw the message on our Telegram group that you were in Grafton. I'm interested in seeing your photos. Hopefully you have a good gallery up when you're done sorting. That was the biggest problem when I was big into photography and I was a professional photographer, is I take a gazillion photos, and then that, you think that's the work. That's not the work. That's the fun part. The editing and sorting and grading and determining which one is your favorite of the first 15, that's the hard work. That's what takes time. We got Melanie, who says, good morning, all. How was your Canada Day? Mine was amazing. Thanks for asking. Hope yours was great, too. Ashley says hi. Avandro, who's still probably got nightmares of doing the 20-meter shuttle run. I saw on his particular TikTok channel, he was doing the shuttle run on the driveway, I'm assuming in front of his house, and with a little man following him everywhere he went. So that was awesome. But appreciate your return, even though you're in recovery mode after doing that. Let's see here. Brandon wants to know if KIT would work as a TPS vehicle. I think that would be amazing. And actually, I know a sergeant who's a member of the Toronto, well, he's a Toronto police sergeant, and he owns a KIT replica that was even signed by David Hasselhoff, which is pretty awesome in itself. I'm a big fan of Knight Rider when I was a kid. And if anyone was wondering what KIT was the Knight Industries. What was it? What's the T stand for? It's the, what does KIT stand for? Come on. I'm not even going to look it up. I'll let you guys figure it out. Nicole says, hi, Sean. And just to circle back, I would love an autonomous best friend named KIT that would drive me everywhere and jump over buildings and cool stuff. I need turbo boost. All right. So I'll let you tell me something 2000. I want to say it's something, the T is something 2000. Anyway, again, hi, Nicole. Let's see here. Dad joke I'll tag for later. A question. Oh, are we getting into questions? I think we are. I'll flag it for the time being and give me a second to come back to it. Maxwell says, rocking the beard now. Looks grizzled. I've never thought of describing it as grizzled, but I am quite enjoying the beard. Thank you for noticing. Let's see here. We'll come back to Twin C. Is it Twin C? Okay. Okay. Oh, hey, what's going on, 416 Tactical Supply? I've been meaning to come and visit you guys. I see all your TikToks, obviously, but I've yet to be to the store, and I need to come check you out. Glad to hear that you're open which means maybe I'll be able to pop by and say hello. I'll be downtown. Well, maybe tomorrow. I might come by tomorrow after my appointment. Okay. Let's see here. Now, we'll just get into questions because otherwise I'm going to lose my place and it's going to just mess it all up. All right. So the question is, I sent a request to speak to a prosecutor. Do I just wait for an email for a date? And it was in relation to a speeding ticket. And I think that's how it works. Now, I have to tell you that I've never actually been on your side of the game. I've never actually tried to meet with a prosecutor. But I understand that they send you a letter in the mail giving you a time, date, location, and it may just be online nowadays. But yeah, everything takes forever. Like you could be waiting for 6 or 7 months for that. So be patient. It's hard. Patience is difficult, but it is a thing. Zombie says, good morning. Good morning to you. John Randy Lockhart. Is it distracted driving to adjust your air conditioning or heating while driving? Thank you. Well, John, the answer is no, but it could be. It could be careless driving. And I mean that with like such an unlikelihood. But if your driving was so negatively impacted by you adjusting the air conditioning that you were all over the road weaving, and that would be careless driving. Now, would we say it was careless driving because you were touching the controls? It would just be careless driving because you're all over the road, unable to drive your vehicle safely. But you could be getting there because of your absolute focus on getting the perfect temperature. I say that smiling because I'm kidding around a little bit. I mean, I don't think that would be an issue. Now, if you were using a big screen, to do that, you had to go through 25 nested menus to adjust your stuff. And by the time we pulled over and we're watching you and you were all over the screen, well, it doesn't qualify for distracted, but it certainly qualifies for careless. That's the thing. See, distracted driving in Ontario specifically requires a handheld communication device or handheld entertainment device or having the screen of another's device being shown to you. So if your passenger is showing you their Instagram feed, that's distracted driving, even though it's not you doing it, well, holding it. Okay. Not a firefighter waves. Oh, why do some cops leave empty cruisers in certain spots? Fantastic question. I think it's a great idea. It goes back to when police used to do cardboard cutouts of officers conducting radar and police cars. Like it works to slow people down because speeders don't want to get caught, but will, sort of drive willy-nilly above the speed limit if they think they won't. But you put up a bunch of cardboard cutouts or false traps for radar detectors where it starts sending a signal, and people slam on the brakes, they slow right down because they're doing something wrong and they don't want to pay the consequence. They don't want to be held accountable for their choices. So some police services in the GTA have gone to leaving police cars in spaces around their area to create that false flag, to give the potential of a speed enforcement setup so that people will slow down. And it works beautifully. I think we should do it everywhere. I just think we should have radar, like automated speed enforcement everywhere. Why do we have to warn you? Why should we wait until you slow down? We should just hit you with the ticket because you should know better already. That's the thing. But I do appreciate the comment and the question. What do you think about that? What do you think about leaving a police car, an empty police car, no one's using it at the time, to do that, to slow people down, to make roads safer for everyone on them? I'd like to know your opinion. Now, when we come back to to other reasons why they could be there, well, they could just be stopped there as they respond. I mean, they were going off to respond to a call in the bush and just, I don't know, they parked in front of a building. There's times when we actually just leave an unattended vehicle because we're actually doing something outside of the vehicle as opposed to trying to slow people down. But it still has the same positive effect. Ryan has a question that I'll have to take offline. Let's see here. Another dad joke. We got that. Basharat Ali. Stop speeding before it stops you. Always obey the speed limit of your vehicle. Always follow the speed limit. Obey the speed limit of the road you're on. The vehicle. I'm not sure if any vehicles have any speed limits. But Basharat Ali is a police officer in Punjab, Pakistan, and we always appreciate you dropping by to say hello. All right, we got. What is this? This weekend, we imposed some fines because drivers are driving with the lights off during the rain. Everyone's excuse was the same. It was an automatic. It was on automatic to call, but it didn't call because it was clear day and day. I think what you're saying is because Evandro is an auxiliary officer with Peel Regional Police. I'm assuming you were on a ride along and you stopped a bunch of people with their lights off. It's a big problem. And very often what you mentioned of having the automatic not be so automatic, the biggest problem is when you put your car in for service, they turn off the automatic light sensor because they would be on while they're working on the vehicle and they don't want to be blinded by the light, which is a great song, but not a great thing to have in your eyes. So yeah, you got to be aware. You still got to, do your checks and balances and make sure that the lights are on. A TikTok collab would be cool, 416. Let's see here. Why is there a cop giving speeding tickets right underneath a steep bridge? Isn't that a trap? If you are speeding in an area where the speed limit is low and you are going fast, you are breaking the law. Is it dangerous? It is a trap. We're catching you breaking the law. You're not allowed to speed at any point, whether it's a steep bridge, under it, around it. Like if the speed limit says 60, it's 60. Uphill or downhill, it's 60. So don't speed, and they will be there wasting their time. Waste their time. Make them waste their time by not breaking the law. But if you break the law, you give them something to do and justify their actions. Can't help myself. I find that entertaining. Okay. Boom, boom, boom. Let's see here. Northern Pike says, good morning, Sean, and beautiful world. Watching from my boat while fishing in Balsam Lake. Boy, what a way to make us feel good about being at work. But I'm glad that you're out doing something that I'd rather be doing. Fishing is something I don't do often, but I really enjoy. And it's not that I enjoy the fishing part. I enjoy the being out on the water and just enjoying time in water. It's just nice. It's peaceful. I got to take my kids fishing. Okay, I was about to hit a flag, a quote from Michaela until everything got reshuffled. There we go. Okay, got it done. Not a firefighter says, yeah, happy late Canada Day. I heard a lot of firecrackers. Did you hear fire? And it's not a firefighter. Were there a lot of firefighter fires to fight? I always wonder if there's a lot of fires because of firecrackers. Whenever I've done any, used any, lit any, I always wonder if someone's going to like burn down a house because of, poor fire safety management stuff. Anyway, the things I think about. Cold Laker says, good morning, Sean. Much love from Toronto. Welcome to Tuesday. Thank you so much. It is always good to hear from you. It's been a while. The B.A. Baracus van. Yes, that would be another good. I saw someone who had one on the road. I dropped the pen. I saw one on the road recently. It was amazing. I love these replica 80s television throwback vehicles. Generally, all these amazing, all the ones that trigger memories from TV shows. They're all amazing. How about what would be a great vehicle? What about the Tom Houston vehicle? What was that? Was that a kit car? I think it was. Does anyone know what Tom Houston was? Knight Industries 2000. That's the T. The other T. That seems like I knew it was something thousand. I may even have known it was 2, but I wouldn't have expected TT. Anyway, what can I say? Knight Industries 2000. I need to take a sip of water. And I like that we had a whole bunch of people who knew that. Yes, and then we had Ryan who says Kit was the first autonomous car. Truly. Lots of folks knew the answer to this. Michael, everybody knew it but me. I couldn't come up with it. Okay. Chan says, good morning, everyone. Good morning to you. Not a firefighter says, I bet if you talk to the space-time junction guy in Houston, he'd let you borrow his kit and DeLorean. So I don't know if I told you the story before on the show, but I almost bought a DeLorean when I was 16. And I think it was like 13 or 14 grand. It wasn't terribly expensive. But the air conditioning was finicky and it wasn't a great car. The car that I was looking at wasn't a great car. But I should have bought it anyway. I should have had a not great, amazing, awesomeness car. And I regret that. Instead, I got a very good car. But I'll never forget sitting on the guy's driveway in my neighborhood, testing out I think it was an automatic but he had retrofitted the air conditioning to work, but it wasn't working great. For whatever reason, I talked myself out of it, and I regret it. Okay. Ooh. Sam saw someone driving bikes on the DVP shoulder. Yeah, bicycles not allowed on the Don Valley Parkway. That would be against the law. Oh. Knight Industries 3000 in the new series. Was the new series the Mustang? That I vaguely remember hating that remake or the attempt at a remake. That it was bad. I don't remember it being good. Let's see here. If the auto plate renewal started yesterday for plate that expire in 90 days, what if you had a plate that expires in about 60? Well, that's a very good question. I have not received official notice of this. I'm going based on what I've seen in the news and what other people on TikTok have mentioned. I would go into the link, and ways to get to the link would be going to TrafficCop.ca. I would go this is for you. If you're an Ontario driver, go to TrafficCop.ca, scroll down to useful links, and go to the Renew Plate portal. Just make sure you're up to date. It's free to renew your plates. Just get it done. Make sure you don't get in a situation where automatic didn't work automatically for you, because we don't want you to be in a situation where you're eligible for tickets because you thought it was going to be automatic, and then you weren't actually automatic at all because of, but Akela just helped you out by telling you that you could be in a situation. You brought up good stuff. Cold Acre says, I've been waiting for almost a year for a ticket. So you mean you've received the ticket, but you're waiting for court date or first appearance for almost a year? Not fun. It's a slow process. I don't understand why it's a slow process, but it is apparently a very slow process. Richie says, I got a stunt driving and had 30-day suspension. Let me try that again. I got a stunt driving charge and had a 30-day suspension, but court wants to give me a 6-month suspension. Why? Well, Richie, I'll tell you exactly why. Because, well, actually, 6-month suspension is not even that bad. The 30-day suspension is what you get for administrative penalties at the side of the road, along with a 14-day vehicle impound. When you get to court, if you're convicted, it's a 1 to 3 year prohibition. So 6 months is less than the mandatory minimum, which makes me wonder why. Why are they not giving you 1 year? Yeah, it sounds like a great deal if it's 1 to 3 years on a first conviction and they're giving you 6 months. And then if you're a learner, if you're someone who's part of the graduate licensing program, there could be additional suspensions as a result of those. Like you get a conviction with more than 4 points, you're looking at a 30-day suspension as well, as far as I can remember. So there's a bunch of reasons why. I mean, they could also give you 6 months in jail and a $2,000 to $10,000 fine. So if they're only giving you 6 months suspension, sounds like they're trying to be nice to you in a roundabout way. We got here, cyclist fell behind my car. I had to stop abruptly due to the car in front. Am I responsible? Well, that's an interesting conversation. If you stopped abruptly because you were avoiding collision, are you responsible for the person falling off the bike? Indirectly, you may be, but were they following too close? There's a lot of factors that fall into the conversation. There was an event that took place in Toronto where a turning vehicle turned in front of a cyclist who then fell and injured themselves. Now, were they responsible? You can argue it that nothing that nothing you did contacted them, didn't force them to fall down. Could have been their skill that caused them to fall down, but at the end of the day, you were involved in the situation that led up to them falling. So you are involved, and it's up to insurance and whatnot to determine how much of an involvement. And ultimately, if the person in front of you, you got their license and so on, they caused you to stop. So they caused that action, then you caused the next action, and so on and so forth. Chain of events. I live in Ottawa, and I see OPS. What is this? OPS, the Ottawa Police Service. So I live in Ottawa, and I see Ottawa Police Service on their cell phone all the time while driving. Why is it okay? Simply, it's permissible for police, fire, and ambulance to use their handheld communication devices whilst driving. It's an exemption under the Ontario Highway Traffic Act that allows police, fire, and ambulance to use their communication devices, whether it be their cell phone, their laptop in the car, their police two-way radio, or fire or EMS radio. Those communication devices are covered under that act. They're exempt for their use, but so are licensed ham radio operators, and even you, if you're calling 911, you're legally permitted to use your phone to call 911 in an emergency. So there's that. But that's why they're allowed to. Now, it's not safer for them to use it than it is for you. It is safer from the perspective of they're the only ones doing it. The roads are safer if only one person is taking risks rather than everyone taking a risk, because that's just calamity. But it is not, we don't have special training to be less distracted. Everyone's distracted. We have it. We understand that it's a risk. We take a calculated risk based on, preserving public safety. We need to get access to information in a timely fashion. And people say, well, just use your two-way radio. Okay, first of all, a two-way radio pressing push to talk is actually more distracting than using a cell phone. Now, if you're talking about emailing a long list of things, that is even more distracting than that of a two-way radio. But we do what we have to do to get the information in the fastest way possible to preserve public and officer safety. Okay. I love how people come in and advertise on Kick. Like every message I get on Kick, every other message is, hey, I think you could use assistance on Kick. I can make you 1 million followers and just follow my simple course. Okay. We covered this. Okay, racing video shooter. What's going on? Correct. Speed cameras everywhere. Works great in Europe when we pay people to catch speeders. Or why do we pay people to catch speeders manually? Well, so 100% we agree on this. I think speed cameras are awesome. Now, in Europe, laws are different, and I believe that the driver or the owner can be held accountable as the driver and get demerit points on their license. They can, in Australia, they can elect to say that, well, little Bobby, my son, was driving. Maybe not so little if he's driving, but, because you have to be of age and have a license and such. But you can elect an actual driver. So if you lent your vehicle to your friend Bob, Bob was driving, Bob got a ticket while in your car, you could say, no, it was actually Bob. Bob's on the hook and Bob gets the points. In Ontario, the laws are written in such a way that there are no demerit points because it's owner responsibility, not driver responsibility, because we can't identify who it is. And I guess they took the path of least resistance. So when a police officer writes a ticket, it actually impacts the driver. And that's important. It's important that the driver's license is at risk of being taken. It should be at risk. Your insurance rates should go up if you're caught speeding. Whereas, yeah, I'd like to see it change. But I think that we could do a lot better if we weren't busy chasing speeders, right? Like we have so many people who are speeding. If 60+%, I think that's being fair. I think it's probably 90% of cars on the road are speeding. At least that's what my drive to work looks like. 90% of the people are passing me because I'm doing the actual factual speed limit. I stay to the right and I watch them drive by in a blur. Now, that would all stop, I would hope. And it would only be left to the few, the brave, the ignorant, to go really, really fast in spite of that. Let me look over here because I want to see. There were a bunch of messages that I said I acknowledged and then ignored. Okay, my boom of my microphone is in the way. Come on, here we go. Alia says, good morning, officer, with the new day, new start. Cool. Good morning to you. Then Set in Stone says, what is the ticket for having your plate flipped on a motorcycle? Well, we'll talk about that in 1 second. Well, actually, let's talk about it right now. If you're intentionally obscuring your plate to avoid detection in a situation like being on your being on a toll road, could be, I think, $180. Driving with no plate or obscured plate would be $110. But there's a range. Like it depends on where we go with it. So here I'm going to go to the section for permits and plates, and there's one. It's called confused identity, and I don't know if this would fall under it, but that would be $110. But it's an arrestable offense. So maybe it says here, no number other than that upon the number plate furnished by the ministry shall be exposed, or any part of the motor vehicle or trailer in such a position or manner as to confuse the identity of the number plate. So that's really putting things on top of the plate. I don't think it qualifies for flipping it. In any case, There's a bunch of different wordings, but ultimately they're all $110. I'm looking for anything else that could be. No, I think it was just $110. I'd like to see more serious, consequences. I see so many vehicles. Yesterday I watched a second bike within 7 days reach behind and flip the plate up. This was an enduro bike. I was in Richmond Hill at the time, and I watched an enduro bike, and I'm being very specific because if you're watching, I'd like you to know that I saw you, and I was angry, and I yelled out my window at you, and you may or may not have heard. Boy, did it piss me off. Anyway, they flipped up the plate, then just ran a red light. Now, the next block, I came across a supervisor with York Regional Police, but it was too late. They were gone. I imagine they lived in the neighborhood. They really had to pee. It's that weak bladder control that some of these people have that just makes them break the law all over the place. Louise says, it's a great idea. I just don't know which idea we're talking about. Out of context comments, I love it. Rob says we need... Oh, maybe you're probably acknowledging and doubling down on photo radar everywhere, at which point now I totally agree. Rob says we need photo radar again. We used to have vehicles that police operated that actually had camera systems, and we pulled onto roads and we operated them. Before my time, but it was a thing. Tim Shallow, what's going on? Good morning, Sean, is what Tim says, and good morning, Tim, is what I says. And then Mac Big says we do have it. We do and we don't. We have it in school zones only, in community safety zones. That's the only place we're allowed to have automated speed enforcement in the city of Toronto. Gone are the days when we used to have it on the Don Valley Parkway. It would be amazing to have it on the Don Valley Parkway again. And Rob says everywhere, which is absolutely where it needs to be. Liam McBride says, cities near me put speed cameras in unmarked cars and move them around from time to time in the United States. That's what we used to have. That's what we need here again. Okay. Dua Mitzvah says, good morning. Thank you for all the important information. It is my pleasure. Thank you very much for the thank you. Let's see here. You guys going to do another sting outside the racetrack again? Which racetrack are we talking about? NFS Rider. I'm not aware of the racetrack or the sting that you're referring to, but if you're driving a race car on the streets that isn't street legal, then you deserve to get stung outside of a racetrack. Race cars that are not street legal need to be trailered to the track. Let's see here. In Virginia, it's illegal to use wipers with your lights off. What? What? That's I'm not familiar with this law. I've never heard of anything like it. Maybe I need to look up the context of that. That's hilarious. But thank you, Racing Video Shooter, for that. I got to go back to 2 more comments on Instagram. And why are front license plates still a requirement? It's actually a joke. Well, it's not actually a joke. The Premier of Ontario wanted to get rid of license plates in the front when he came into office, and he went and spoke to his trusted people, those chiefs of police that know stuff and things. He asked them. They said, public safety suggests 2 plates are better than 1, and I couldn't agree more. The truth is we have people who do bad things in vehicles. They steal them. Now the people who are driving the stolen vehicle have twice the chances of being identified by cameras and or witnesses, whilst fleeing, we have people who take children. Amber alerts happen. Twice the chances of identifying a vehicle with 2 plates than 1. And why do you not want a front plate? Because it doesn't flow with the lines of your ride. Because it's less cool. I mean, when you compare less cool to catching bad people and protecting children, I don't understand why we have front plates at all. Because it's smart. It's smart to have 2 plates. And the justifications for not having 2 plates mean very little. But the allegation from Anakin's ego, it's funny that ego is part of your name. You just keep it to extort money. Dude, you don't have to pay if you just put the bloody plate on. You only make yourself eligible for a no front plate ticket if you're too cool to put the plate on, at which point you are opting to get paid, or for us to get paid. Yeah, you don't get paid. You get ticketed. But you are opting to get a ticket for that. You're choosing, you are writing your own destiny here. And it's silly. But your argument is silly. Let's see here. Toronto Road Camp says, never speed under or over a bridge. And never speed anywhere. It's no point. And racing video shooter, absolutely on point, says helps identify cars. Is it illegal for bikers to stand while riding? Crash wants to know. So there's a law that says you have to be in the driver's seat of a motor vehicle. Are you standing? That is standing when your butt is not actually making contact with the seat. Are you not in the driver's position? I would argue that motocross bikes are meant to be ridden while standing. I often, when riding cross country, would stand up for a moment to stretch, because sitting in a position on a motorcycle can be quite uncomfortable. Have highway bars to change the position, but sometimes you just need to let blood flow, and standing up momentarily isn't an issue. It's not. I don't interpret that law to suggest that you cannot stand in the driver position. If you were to change to the rear passenger position, you are no longer in the driver position. If you were to take your feet off the passenger, the rider pegs, and float above the seat, now you're not in the rider position. That's my interpretation. Interpretations may vary amongst police officers. I need that caveat on all things I say. Just a reminder that if you put a letter Q before your question, it's much easier for me to identify it as a question as opposed to banter amongst yourselves. Alex says hi, and to Alex I say hi back. Not a firefighter says, people are always stupid with firecrackers. Leave the fireworks to the professionals. I think that's a great idea. Doing and first of all, why spend $60 in your backyard and potentially set fire to your home when you can go to somewhere for about the same amount of money and watch $100,000 go up in smoke and not burn your home, and hopefully not burn anybody else's, because they're professionals. Okay, what is this? What is somebody trying to be offensive? We'll just ignore them. What is this? A few years ago, I had a number of mentally exhausting students and missed a speed change from 100 to 80. Realized my mistake when I saw a white Crown Victoria that someone was selling. Yes, even the for sale cars can sometimes motivate, awareness. Clyde would like to know, why aren't you working, Sean? I am working. This is work. Answering your questions, even yours, is work. Some are more laborious than others, but the job of media relations and social media officer is a serious one. I'm part of a group of people who educate the public about traffic safety, traffic law, and police stuff in general. So I appreciate that it confuses some people, but it is an important thing. Now, if you're asking why I'm not on the road working, it's because I was injured in a motorcycle collision a number of years ago, and I'm not being cleared to return to active duty on the road. Thus, I've invented a position. We never did this online stuff, but what we used to do is go to all sorts of barbecues and events, and we would take ourselves off the road and go do that, and we'd spend time talking to people one-on-one. But instead of one-on-one, I'm talking to 76 people who are watching online on multiple channels. Here we see the majority of them are on Traffic Services X, about 46 of them. But then we're talking to 1,000 people who are over on TikTok. At least that's the total viewer count so far. And then we have people who are even on Instagram. There are people here, and goes up as a podcast after the fact. So we're talking to a lot of people versus just one-on-one, repeating ourselves ad nauseum. Are car thefts being investigated? Yes, they are. Are all car thefts solved? No, not all of them, but we do our best. We don't protect cars from being stolen. We investigate vehicles that are stolen. It's your job as a vehicle owner to do the things you need to do to make your vehicle less attractive to would-be car thieves. Putting a bar lock on the steering wheel to prevent the brake pedal from being released, to putting a kill switch hidden in the vehicle somewhere. These are things you can do to make your vehicle less attractive and harder to steal. But the actual after the fact, that's when police get involved. Although it's not Traffic Services who investigates those, because car theft is not the area of cars that we focus on. We're talking about driving offenses, collisions, and whatnot. Let's see here. I want to have a look here. Mitchell. Hello, sir. I have a question. I got to make this out of the way here. It says, hello, sir. I have a question about motorcycles. In stop-and-go traffic, bikes get extremely hot. Is it acceptable to slowly and safely lane split or lane change to keep moving in a slow speed? The answer is always going to be depends. Can you navigate through traffic safely? potentially, if you're driving between traffic, if you're driving to waddle up a few lengths to get out of the way so you're not the bumper stopper of the vehicle in front of you when a distracted driver who's not paying attention ends up smacking into you, well, I understand that. But lane splitting or lane filtering is not legal and very often perceived to be careless driving, stunt driving, or criminal dangerous driving. So, no, it's not legal. You shouldn't be doing it. And if your vehicle gets hot, you should pull over and let it cool down. You should not be driving through traffic because that's not how it's done. Like, you chose to be on a bike, you deal with the consequences. I ride bike, I totally get it. It's not fun to have a warm vehicle. Go get a coffee, let it cool down. But driving in a way that is dangerous, and even when you say in a safe way, is it safe really? No, it's not. All right. Just before 10:20, there was a question about speed measurement at a steep bridge, and Michael H. says you can control speeds regardless of grade. There is no speed traps. Yeah, I mean, traps is the neg that people throw at it, suggesting it's somebody's fault and not theirs. Truth is, if you're speeding, it's your fault. Why don't we enforce lane discipline more? I think we enforce all sorts of things, but the truth is we focus our efforts on the big four. And in case you forgot what the big four was, that's speeding, distracted driving, aggressive driving, and impaired driving. We're focused on that because that's the most serious. Other stuff comes as a second. If we see it, we deal with it. But there's not enough officers on the road to deal with everything all the time. I wish there were. Rob says, maybe not the General Lee with the Confederate flag. Okay, maybe. Still was a cool car in my youth. Not politically motivated, just the car was cool. It was orange and it flew through the air. Boom. Why do you let 50 cars a day be stolen in Toronto? I personally don't let anything happen in Toronto. I talked to you about traffic safety. And as I said, individual owners of vehicles are responsible for making their vehicles less attractive to thieves. Doing things to prevent the theft is you. You know, you don't leave your computer or your laptop sitting out to be stolen. Otherwise, it gets stolen. And we don't say, why the police allow it to be stolen. Bad people do bad things. You want to prevent it from happening, you have to take measures. Then we work to catch them. It's just an unfortunate situation. If no one was in the market for stolen stuff, no one would steal stuff. So there's a creation of a market based on the fact that people want to buy stuff at a deal. What is this? When cops beat students on behalf of capital interest, do you feel something? Okay, somebody with political aspirations and I don't even know where they're going with this. I don't know. Was there an article that I missed or something? Was someone beaten? I don't know what's going on. Michael says, I was not even born when Knight Rider was made. You missed out, my friend. What's my dream car? I have so many, but my favorite really is the Hummer H1 or the Humvee with a slant back. I think that's what I would go with if I was choosing. Boy Mom 8424 says, good morning, Sean. Good morning to you. And of course, Cowboy jumps in with a hello, good morning, everyone. Caden says, I got. And Lyle says, love your presentations. Thank you very much to all of you. I appreciate the comments. What is this? What happens when a cab driver gives tips insure valid till what? Oh, sorry. What happens if a cab driver gives TPS insurance valid till November 24th, but is no longer active? Well, if they gave insurance that was not active, it was false documents, or the policy was canceled, they're driving without insurance, we would charge them. We've up to 3 years to lay the charge. So if we became aware of it, we'd go back and investigate and lay the charge. Not afraid of car thieves stealing an unattended police car. This is in relation to vehicles being left in locations. I imagine that police take steps to prevent them from being stolen easily. They should be in school safety zones. I agree. Those are great places to put them. But I think everywhere needs people to slow down. Al-Safar says, hey, Sean Shapiro. Hey, back. Renewed my license plate yesterday. Awesome. Why do drivers drive with no lights on the 401? People drive all over the place with no lights on because they're completely unaware. Because the automated light system comes on, the daytime running lights come on, their dashboard lights up, and they just assume. And in the city, you can see for the most part. Maybe they've never driven with lights on. They don't even know what they're missing. Don't forget about Set in Stone says, don't forget about Instagram questions. It's hard. For those on Instagram, you get a better experience by coming onto YouTube or any one of the other platforms. Let's see here. PR Jenkins says, no, I believe license plate should be on front too. I believe license plate should be on the front too. Okay. Hearts from Cheap Guy Raul. What's going on, my friend? Okay. And then Crystal, long time no talk. Is there a difference having your car fully tinted and a motorcycle helmet visor tinted? There is. And then the follow-up question or statement was, my brother-in-law got a ticket for having his car tinted, but his lawyer got them off because he brought in a motorcycle helmet that was fully tinted. I think they got very lucky and they got a very sympathetic justice of the peace. The reason I say that is because having a motorcycle visor tinted is not regulated. The tint on your helmet is not regulated. It's like wearing sunglasses. There's no charge for wearing sunglasses at night. There is a charge, however, for obscuring the interior of a motor vehicle and for obscuring the driver's view of a motor vehicle. Now, I've never thought about making the driver obstructed view charge apply to a motorcycle helmet, but maybe we could make that apply. Let's have a look. Let's have a look, because maybe you've just inspired me. And then all the people who want tint go, oh my God, no, don't let him look at stuff. He'll driver view. That's what I'm looking for. Obstructed. Come on. Obscure? Maybe it's obscure. Terrible searching thing. Obstruct. Oh, come on. Terrible keyboard. I missed my BlackBerry. Window obstructed, windshield obstructed. Okay. It wouldn't work. It has to be on a motor vehicle. So the motorcycle doesn't apply. The car does. We lay charges based on the law. Sorry. But I appreciate what you're saying. So that's the answer, though. One has a law that very specifically deals with it, and one doesn't. Otherwise, we'd probably lay charges for everything. Why is a first-time speeding ticket $271? My brother got one yesterday. He was going 96 and a 60. Let's go to the handy-dandy calculator. Are you in the province of Ontario? Because that makes a difference. 36 over. Okay. 36 over is $271. Look at that. It's an Ontario thing. It would have been $532 if they were in a Schedule 2 zone, in a community safety zone. It's based on the speed. It doesn't matter how many times you've been caught speeding. It's about how fast you're going. If that first ticket was 5 over, it would have been $27.50, according to this calculator. It don't matter how many times you break the law. It's that you broke the law. Cowboy says, or asks, if my blood sugar is low, but there's no safe place to pull over, what do I do? Yeah, I don't know what to tell you. I mean, you find a safe place to pull over. You can't just stop in the middle of the lane, because that would be the least safe thing to do. This is where you want to have a candy or something handy. Sergeant Campbell is diabetic. He's quite open about it. And he grabs, wherever we're going, he has a pocket full of either glucose or something to be able to respond to what if, because you can't wait till you're too far. Also, modern blood sugar monitoring systems that tie into your phone have alarms if things are going out of whack. So you make good plans. Ryan Pinn says, I love teaching traffic circles. It's a roundabout way to get around. It's a roundabout way to get to. I can't even. I'm reading it and I'm laughing and it's throwing me off. So it's a dad joke about driving instruction. I like it. It's a roundabout way to get around town. I got to tell you that I got a real problem with roundabouts, because while I usually say that people entering have no idea that the people inside the roundabout have the what is it called? I just scrolled myself there. It's called right of way. Yeah, people in the roundabout have the right of way, and the people who are entering have to yield to the people in the roundabout, and I do that. And then, is it last weekend? I approached a roundabout and the person in the roundabout stopped for me. They stopped for me. I don't have words. I don't get it. But they did it. And that's, better than the alternative when I'm driving in the roundabout and the person accelerates to jump in and I have to, smash the brakes to avoid these idiots who don't know how to use roundabouts. So they shouldn't say it. Maybe they're not idiots. They're just uninformed people who don't know how to drive. Hey, what about Toronto police vehicles license plate covered with bicycle rack? They are in the wrong. They are incorrect. They should not be doing that. They are blocking their plates. They are not lawful. We've talked about it. I got no defense for it. I mean, the vehicle is clearly a police vehicle with clear markings around it, but they are in violation of that act, by not doing that properly. I got pulled over for doing 95 and a 70, but he dropped it to 80. Is there any way I can fight the demerits? There's no demerits for 80 in a 70. You have to be doing 16 kilometers over in order to trigger demerit points. So you've already beaten the demerit points, but you still would have a conviction if you paid it. Yeah. So they gave you a favor. They gave you a 10 over. My math is right? 10 over. Yeah. Okay. Let's see here. He lost. Okay. I don't know what that is. Thank you, OG. I'm just checking based on this reminder, although it's a dated reminder. And you're very welcome, Crystal, who says, thank you for the question on Instagram. But thank you, OG, for reminding me, even though that was 28 minutes. So we're about a 30-minute delay, roughly. Let's see here. I'll be in a state of confusion and such. I won't know what to do when my blood sugar is low. Yeah, I don't know what to tell you. I hear what you're saying about not knowing, and it comes on, what does it say? Comes on fast, don't know what'll happen all the time. I don't have a good answer for you. I wish I did. But being that you're in that situation, you gotta come up with a plan. Either check your stuff regularly or, I don't know. I'm not in that situation. I can't speak to it from personal reference. Let's talk to Sergeant Campbell when he comes back, because that's a really good conversation, and he is uniquely prepared to address it. Okay. What would happen if someone is going 230 and a 60? I'd arrest them for dangerous driving, criminal charge. 230 and a 60. No, I mean, I'd charge them for the speeding, the criminal dangerous, and the stunt. I'd give it to them all. Let's see here. Oh, Crash says last time it happened to them, they put the hazards on and kept going until it was safe. That's one way to do it. At the end of the day, you have a handful of bad options. None of them are great, right? When will blacked out license plates be enforced? I see cops ignoring them. Aren't they legal? So you're talking about tinted license plate covers. You have to assume that. So you could assume that we notice absolutely everything and then choose to actively ignore it. That's probably not the case. We see a lot of things, but we may be on a priority call looking for something else, focused on something. We don't look at every license plate. Now, with automatic license plate readers, we're more and more, freed up to pay attention to other things. Like we've got alarms going off, we've got radio calls, we've got prisoners on board, lots of things happening. We may or may not be looking at license plates. When I see it, I pull it over. If I cannot make out that plate, you're getting pulled over, you're getting a charge. Assuming I was on the road, I don't do that anymore. I miss those days. Australia has zero tolerance speeding over, one over, and you can be ticketed, and people often are. Well, we have the ability to delay a charge for one over, but we've got a society that doesn't like being held accountable, and we have courts that have become quite, lenient, like really lenient. Like people who are doing 10, 15, 20 over, and we reduce things. Should we? I think we should pull people over for 5 over. See, any speed that we give as a grace period becomes part of the new speed limit. If I don't pull you over until you do 20, then 19 is permissible, and 19 is the speed limit. Well, if we made the speed limit 100, why is 119 permissible? It shouldn't be. Zero tolerance is the only way to really change behavior, in my opinion. It is 4 minutes to 11, and as much as I love y'all, I'm going to try my best to shut it down shortly after 11. I like to do this for you. I don't want to leave you unanswered. But a reminder that I won't be here tomorrow, and I will be back here for Thursday and Friday. So if you have questions that you don't get answered today, then you have a couple of options. And option one is going to be here Thursday and Friday and ask it then. The other option is to go to TrafficCop.ca, where you can actually hit a button, send me a message. It's an email where you can ask me questions, and I'll get to you when I can. I mean, DMs and all the platforms work, but that's a more direct route. It'll actually send me an email, and I will respond by email. And let's go back to here because I wanted to see what else we got. How can someone fight an out of province? Sorry, how can someone from out of province fight a ticket from Ontario? And somebody else said a lawyer, and that's right. You can hire an agent, a representative, a lawyer to go on your behalf. Um, that's an option for you. And you said fight a ticket, so I'm assuming you have an actual defense. Many people just go to court trying to or hoping that a police officer won't show up. Also, I should say this: you also have the opportunity to attend via online. Like you might be able to go in person without a lawyer because so much of the court is done remotely now. I don't know why that didn't come on screen. There we go. Pressed it again. Yeah, you might be able to appear remotely from wherever you are in the world. So that's an option. The first thing first is say you want to fight it, but also remember that you need to have a defense. You can't just say I don't want to pay this ticket. I got tickets for not wearing seatbelts. How can you fight this? Well, the best way is to avoid getting tickets for not wearing seatbelts by wearing a seatbelt. If you weren't wearing your seatbelt, I don't know of any way to fight it. If you didn't have a doctor's note in advance, then because if you had a doctor's note, you would have provided it to the officer and you would have been exempt. But since I'm assuming you didn't have a note, you didn't give it to the officer, and you're guilty of not wearing a seatbelt. But you have the right to take it to court. You need to actually have a defense. Radek says, good morning. Good morning to you. For your information, my plate expires in August. I thought it originally said August 1. I checked my status using your website link, but I think it hasn't been but it hasn't been updated automatically yet. I can't speak. Water. I hope my tongue is sticking to the inside of my mouth. Talk for an hour, see how it works. All right, here. But it hasn't been updated automatically yet. I went ahead and renewed it anyway. And why wouldn't you? It's free, so it makes total sense to do it. Okay. What do we got here? Michael made a comment. Good morning to Linda, who says, good morning, my hero. Thank you for what you do. Love you all. What would we do without your help? Love you all. Big supporter of police. I share Linda's message whenever people say, what are people saying? I say, well, Linda says that she loves you. And that's awesome. We love the support. Appreciate it. Okay. Ryan Pinn, who says, in the event that you are ever cleared for, in the event that you're ever cleared for active duty, will this daily show end? That is a very good question for which I don't have an actual answer. I would hope that I'd be able to do some sort of split duty. This has become such a big thing, and it's so important, and so many people enjoy and rely on it. It would be a shame to ever stop it. So I would think that we'd have some kind of split responsibility. I could go out on the road and maintain what I do. The truth is, this job that I do would normally be personed by an able-bodied officer who's capable of going on the road. So it should continue even if I were to get cleared for active duty. But at the same time, they could also put me anywhere in the service, so I couldn't guarantee anything. Okay. I would like to leave my thanks. Because I joined the police today, I owe part of it to you. Thank you for your channel and transforming so many lives. I just want to read that again. Well, first of all, you're very welcome for what we do here. And I know that you joined the auxiliary police, and I know that your plan is to become a police officer, and you don't owe me nothing, but I appreciate the thanks. I'm glad that I was able to inspire you to do something, and having met you and spoken with you about what you want, it's obvious that you're passionate about helping people. So I'm really proud that I was able to be a part of that. So thank you. Let's see here. Can you explain DUI with cannabis positive test does not always mean impairment? It could be from 24 hours later. So here's the deal. Simply testing positive by way of a buccal swab, which is basically a Q-tip that they put inside your mouth, that is what would be used for a roadside screening device to see if you have more than 0. So if you were a graduated licensed driver, you can't have anything more than 0. You would test positive potentially for that. Thus, you would be in trouble. You get a suspension. If you were a commercial motor vehicle, same driver, same thing. In terms of impairment, DUI, drive under the influence, if you were driving a motor vehicle, we wouldn't use if we were testing you for the purposes of impairment, we wouldn't use that system. We would actually have a roadside, what's the word I'm looking for? Sobriety test, where we'd have you, walk 1 foot in front of the other, do that sort of thing, touch your nose. We would test you if we weren't sure. But if you were giving us signs that you were impaired, we may simply make a demand to put you in front of a drug recognition evaluator. And that person is capable of putting you through a battery of tests, and based on your performance, would justify laying the charge of driving under the influence. Okay, or impaired driving, I should say. What is this? The question does not keep getting skipped. I just spoke to it. And then they asked it again. Okay, and that was at 46 minutes after, 48 minutes after, something like that. Boom-ba-doo. Yes, Ryan Pin says, gear down, Turbo. They asked the question like 7 times. Jelly E. Can you run a red light for an emergency vehicle? No. You have no authority to run red lights in a civilian vehicle without 360 lights and siren. So no, you cannot. And then you ask specifically for an ambulance, same answer, you cannot. You can make a right turn on a red if you can do so safely and legally without, as long as you're not breaking any laws, but you cannot run a light, period. Let's see here. Oh, do you want to know what the law is for navigating roundabouts? I think we covered it already, but I'll go over it again since it's on screen. The person inside the roundabout has the right of way. They should be signaling their intention to leave. That allows people planning to enter to adjust their speed and navigate accordingly. But people don't signal their intention to go out, at least not in Ontario. I don't see it happen very often. I might be the only person who does it, at least in my vicinity. And you don't have to signal going in. Signal out, but not in. And you can signal both ways, but it doesn't make any sense signaling in because it's where the road's going. So where do you signal to go straight? Anyway, and no apology necessary. It doesn't have to start with the letter Q. It just helps me to identify it. But I got your questions before you even said that. So Akela says, keep lifesavers in your pocket for blood sugar. Yes. Following up, Jelly E says, Jelly E. I'm not going to read your name right. I have to accept it. If there's nowhere else for the emergency vehicle to go at a red light, we should just wait? Yes. So an emergency vehicle who's planning their intersection traversal, they are going to go into oncoming traffic. We as emergency vehicle operators know exactly what's going on. We see the light as we approach. And if we're planning ahead of time, we are going to go into oncoming traffic. If there is nowhere for us to go, we're going to wait 30 seconds after turning off our lights and sirens so that we don't freak everybody out, because people get panicked and then do silly things and then become involved in collisions. So there you go. Let's see here. Joe Cranjack wants to know, what is your opinion on speed enforcement cameras? What does the data show in regards to making the area safer and reducing collisions? Well, I have not looked at the data to the point, because first of all, it's run by the city, not by the Toronto Police. But it's my understanding that the tickets are going down, that the behavior is changing, that it is positive. So now I have to go do some homework so I can actually bring you some facts, because I'd like to know the answers to your questions. But it's my understanding that they are making a positive change in the communities that they are placed in. And if they're everywhere, I think that would make everywhere safer. Let's see here. Akela says, I'm looking to get out to the Indy with a couple of gifts, a challenge coin for your collection, and someone to drop off at recruiting. As long as I can clear the schedule. Awesome. Well, I'll be there. Now, I thank you for bringing up the Honda Indy. The deal is that Honda Indy runs from July 19th to 21st. I'll be there for the whole weekend. Although I have to leave early on the Saturday, I will be there the whole weekend. And if you come on Friday, that's Fan Friday. It's free to enter the festivities. So come on down on the 19th and come say hello. But looking forward to it. Actually, that reminds me, I have to get off the live stream so I can go ensure that everything we have planned goes off without a hitch. I have to get people scheduled to work the event. All right. Boom. What do we got here? I think we're up to date. Oh, Renuda. We got somebody who thinks they're a farm animal. I mean, that's a new thing. I read about this. I guess is that we call you a furry, Runta? I don't know. I don't want to offend anybody that if it's not. I guess that they're putting up pig eye emojis. I think that's what they're trying to say. Anyway, we'll block them because I know what they're actually trying to say. Anyway, I hope you have a great day. If you're driving, drive safely. If you're riding, ride safely. If you're walking, walk safely. the truth is, as long as you're following the rules of the road, regardless if you're walking, riding, or driving, you have set yourself up for success. You're not going to guarantee safety, but you've gotten a lot of the way there. A lot of people get upset when we talk about the fact that anyone other than a motorist is responsible for themselves. The truth is, if you're walking or riding, you have a big part to play in traffic safety, because traffic is everyone's responsibility. I know people say you can't stop the car from running a red light or putting you in danger. No, but you can be aware, and you can assume that everyone's against you. This paranoia is positivity when it comes to traffic safety. You have to assume everyone's out to get you. You have to be more, because many people are not doing what they're supposed to be doing. So head on a swivel, be safe out there, and we'll see you on Thursday. Have a great day. Maybe I should put a video on. At least one video. Now we'll put the recruiting video on. I didn't even go into it. We'll do more on Thursday.
Your future career starts with a vision. A vision of opportunities ahead, where you can see a path to a noble career, serving the city of Toronto. Where do you see yourself? Toronto Police Service. Apply today.
I almost played it twice. All right, saying goodbye for real.